Well, let me talk to you parents out there, especially you parents that are, well, old, like me, you baby boomer parents who have kids. Do you remember the fact when you bought your first house, how long ago it was if you were a baby boomer? I do mine. I was 31 years of age when my wife and I bought our first house. It cost us $55,000. Now, that was clear back in 1981, but today things have dramatically changed. According to a gentleman by the name of Ryan Serhart, apparently he's some sort of celebrity real estate broker on TV. I don't know the guy, don't really care. But he's saying, things have gotten pretty bad. And it turns out if young people today are looking to get their first homes, according to the National Association of Realtors in a recent study they did, a 2025 profile, they call it, the average age for a person buying a house in today's economy, they're 40 years of age. Now you're asking yourself, 40 buying your first house? Yeah, granted, I was 31. Some people are younger than me, but I waited a little bit longer until I got married. Until my wife and I decided, okay, we got to buy a house. Well, that was then. That was back in the 80s. Things are not the 80s anymore. Things are not the 90s. Heck, things are not even 2020. Because back in the old days, 5, 6, 7 years ago, you could get a mortgage for like 3%? Yeah, 3%. Well, now you're seeing the mortgages a whole lot higher. I mean, they were 6, 7%. They're coming down a little bit now. They're somewhere in the range of, 6% or less. But the problem is people can't find houses. And why is that happening that people can't find houses? Well, some people, not all, and some people say one of the reasons is that we've had somewhere between 15 and 20 million people cross the border illegally into this country in the last few years. And they're taking up housing, rental housing. And a lot of people are selling their houses, and there's people out there trying to market housing as rental houses instead of, buying a house. People are saying, they can't afford a house because, 20% down, that takes a lot of money, and everybody's selling their houses for, high dollars. So, if you're in that problem, just imagine what it's like. Now, if you live in the West Coast, like up in the San Jose, California area, San Francisco, the Silicon Valley, and on the left coast, Los Angeles, the houses are going to be extremely expensive. Normally, banks, when they look at financing a house, say, okay, you can have about 25% of your income, roughly a quarter of your income, can go to be on a house payment. So you figure over a year, 25% of what you make. So if you make, say, $50,000 a year, you got $12,500 a year that you can spend for a mortgage on a house. All right? That's for somebody making $50,000. About $12,500 ain't going to be buying much of a house, frankly, in today's market. Figure out what the mortgage would be with $1,250 for a 30-year mortgage. That's the problem we're running into. We're running into the fact that people simply cannot afford the down payment on a house, and then they can't afford the interest rate when they want to go buy a house because that 25% threshold is causing them a big problem. So what do? Well, you say we try to buy more homes, or the latest things they're coming up with are these little mini homes. You've heard about them. People specializing in building these small little tiny houses that are, less than 1,000 square feet. Many cases, a lot less than 1,000 square feet. And they say, people could buy those and move into those. A couple can move in. Well, that's fine. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But because the cost of everything has gone up so much because of the inflation that happened back in the previous administration when they dumped $2 trillion new dollars into the market. Market can't handle $2 more trillion in there because it makes your dollar, the one that you have, worth about 20% less. That's exactly what happened. So, mortgage rates shot up, interest rates, they were high, obviously. And inflation, 9%, whatever it was, people couldn't afford things. So now here's where we are, folks. The CDC says that most women now aren't giving birth until they're 30 years of age. That's how society's going. People are not getting, they're getting married later, they're having their kids later, and frankly, they're finding out they can't afford a house until they're 40 years of age. It's a bad problem. And the mortgage rates are not like they were, well, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So where are you going to go? It's a tough one. And right now, well, you got to understand something. Old baby boomers like me, well, we sell our homes? No, we don't want to. Why sell a home when you've got a 2 to 3% mortgage on it when you buy something else, a place that's for empty nesters, call them as you will? You're going to be paying a 6% mortgage on it. People don't want to do that. And then those empty nester houses could cost almost as much as the house that you're selling for a whole smaller house. I know, I've seen it and I've lived it. So there's the dilemma, folks, going on. How do we get ourselves down? Well, maybe one of the ways that if we reduce the population of folks who are here illegally and renting homes, maybe that'll change things. Possibly. Don't know if it will or not. Can they build more houses? Yes, everybody's trying. But there's only so much land in the world and only so much space that they can build houses on. And when they build them, apparently they're going to build them a lot smaller. And hopefully people will have the money to be able to put down on it. I don't think 20% down is going to change much. I don't think so. It might. But remember, 25% of your annual wage is what you can spend on a house as a rule. Now, there's differences left and right. I understand that. But if you use a 25% model to say, okay, that's what I can afford on a house and that's what the bankers are going to give you, that tells you exactly how much you can do, because you divide that 25% by 12, that tells you your monthly payment, and you figure out what kind of mortgage can I get for that monthly payment. It helps you to figure out if you can get a house, but the trouble is, it's hard to find them, it's hard to pay for them, and ultimately, people don't really want to do some of the stuff that we had to do when we were younger. And that's just work hard and scrape and get by and make it happen. But that's today, and we were yesterday.